Okay, folks, thanks for coming out this afternoon. We'll get a small group here, but I'll go ahead and we'll keep this very casual and formal and quick. And thanks for coming to the Wednesday, September 19th Trader Vision workshop. I'm not even going to bother with agendas and what have you. Let's just close that all together. And we'll just start from scanning. If you have any questions as we go, don't be afraid. Just sing out and I will do my best to answer them. But other than that, we'll just pick out a couple charts, see if we can't plan a couple trades, and call it a night. We do have the monthly workshop tomorrow, Thursday at 8 p.m. Right back here. So you're all welcome to that as well. Let's see. Does anybody have a particular bent on the market? Should we be looking for a particular pattern that somebody likes? Okay, I'll just pick something out here. Let's look for some stocks that are trending bullish. I'll use the U.S. market. I'll use 400,000 shares per day, minimum price of $4, and let's see what that gives us. Okay, errands, Advanced Auto Parts. Let's do this. SG might be one to keep an eye on. See if we can't get a Morningstar type signal tomorrow. Pixelworks. In fact, let's get rid of the let's just leave those. Pixelworks might be nice there. Let's see if we can't plan something with Pixelworks. We still have the downtrending V-stop, but we may be getting some support here. Right at the 200, we have some support just below that. So we'll be looking for some follow-through on that tomorrow. Let's say that we would have an entry in this area. Let's call it 489. With a stop down in this area, 455. Probably look at a first target up in this. Probably up in this 540 area. We'll look at that on another chart in just a moment. Let's continue on here. Pack B. Setting up but not ready. VLRS might be worth a look. Vitamin shop, not so much. True. Not quite. I was looking for Visa. Maybe habit on the follow through. HABT. Maybe on some follow through. Maybe there. We'll see. Let's see if we can't find something else. Maybe, how about a basic consolidation after a run-up? Let's go back to the top. Too much of a gap in here for what I'm looking for. It's a nice consolidation, but a little bit of a pullback. It's still worth a look at VLRS. Durham might be worth a look. And CPE. Cincy Bell. Nope. Let's do this. Okay. Enough of that. Let's see if we can't look for some signals. How about engulfing? Pixelworks is one of them. MBI. Okay, let's see about morning stars here maybe. Nothing I'm liking. Okay. Okay, with that said, let's go ahead and look at some of these charts and pick out some areas here. So let's try to minimize that, maximize this, and pull up that Pixelworks. Go out to a weekly chart. That is probably enough, but let's do one more level here. That matches up pretty good. So let's go back and plan that out as a trade. Sample account, new trade. PXLW. They have reported. I've got 3 bullish conditions, 2 bearish conditions, both short term. It does trade about $2 million worth of stock a day, so that will work. And whoops, I'm back. I'm still on a weekly. Let's go back to a daily. Let's plan that out with 1 entry and 2 exits. So let's say that our entry is up here about 490, up above this level here, with our stop down below the 200. So let's call it what, for, well, why not? Let's just put it down below this level. So it's 450. And that first target will just come up here to these highs. Let's call that top of these bodies. Let's call that 425. 425, 525. 525 just for argument's sake. And then a second one up here about 615. It says we can do 312 shares. Let's look at 400 shares. That's probably too much. No, it's only 1.5%, but it gives us $160 worth of risk if we're stopped out. And if we sell 200 shares there with this small position, something 490, 5 1/4, 450. I'm risking 40 cents. What did I do wrong here? A 490 entry. Oh, okay, it's a 5. Let's call it a 555. That's what I did wrong. It's one of those days. It's still only giving us 1.62 to 1. I do not. guess that's 10%. I'm going to need to move that up. Let's put it right in here. Let's call that, the 200 is at 463, so let's call it 455. That's still not very far. So this particular trade does not look like it's going to work unless you were to think you could hold it up through these previous highs on up into that first target there. If you could, it would work then, and it would be a nice little trade, but I think it's a little bit early for that. So let's pass on this one and go on to the next one. VLRS. Got a little bull engulfing here. We've had a nice trend. It looks like I planned out some levels in the past. Let's plan out a couple others. Let's go to a weekly chart, see if that matches up. It does. That's about right. This is a little bit low. I would probably put it up here. This one I don't need, I don't think. It's a little better. Back to the daily. So we're looking at about an 820 entry with about a 770 stop and an 880 first target. Not sure that'll work, but let's try it. VLRS. We've got a month. Yeah, we got a month left. 6 to none here. That's not bad. We've got plenty of liquidity. Let's look at this as one entry, two exits. I'm not sure it'll make it, but let's try that. Let's call it 820 entry and 770 stop with an 880, 30, 40, 50. It's not going to work. And 9.25 for the second one. Let's yeah. Yep, again, this is just not going to work for us, so let's go back to the drawing board. JBT, and I don't like it here as much. Durham, this might work. Okay, I will be buying on positive trading here, so let's call it $10.95 with a stop here about $10.45. Whoops, this is Durham. Earnings out of the way, we're okay up in there. $8.95 is an entry. What am I talking about? $10.95. And 10.50 is a stop. And 11.85 as a first target there. And the second target, although it's hard to think about, but that's a long way off, let's call it 14.50. Let's try 300 shares. It's still a small position that works. $135 worth of risk. Let's actually bump that up. 3% position, selling half at that first target. We would get our 2-to-1. And if we had to sell the whole position at that first target, we could in fact make this trade goal here, which is 350 for this account. But if we could ride through that open gap, the remainder of the position, we could get almost 5-to-1. So Derm is one to put on your list to take a look at there. That's a nice rounded bottom breakout, and just up to these prior highs is going to get you 2-to-1 on risk below the recent lows, and then get you into this gap. And if you can fill this gap or most of this gap, you pick up real money there. So that's one to keep an eye on. Let's see what else I was looking at. Did I look at HABT? You don't like it. Let's look at MBI. Go to a weekly. It's close enough. There's another one that's close enough. Probably in there. So, what does V stop, just argument's sake, 1057. So our V stop's in here. It's giving us a 3% stop. That'll work. So, this is MBI. Very nice 7 bullish, no bearish. We've got a rising 3 methods working for us here today. In fact, let's just mark that out for you. Let's do 1 entry, 2 exits again. So let's call it a 1095 entry, positive trading, with a stop about, it said 1057. Let's call it 1050. 2, give it a nickel to play with there. First target is about 1160 something, and the second target is up there around 1280 something. Let's try 300 shares. That more than works. Let's try 400 shares. I can live with that. If we sell 200 shares at that first target, or half the position, we're picking up 6%. We're only getting 1.5-to-1. We have to make 1182, so about 20 cents above this first target in order to make this particular trade goal. So you have to be comfortable that we can get in 20 cents above this. I'm not sure that I am, but if I was, that's the bet you would be making, because that's the gravy's on up here then. So on that particular trade, you can get 3 to 1 if you can make both goals. You can get not quite what you need at that first target. You need 20 more cents basically. So that's what we've got for that one. But it's worth a look. I like that Rising 3 methods. There might be something I could do to play with that. That would probably be about what I would be using to support my. So let's call. Let's go back and make that. Let's make that 1060 on the stop. That's close to 2 to 1, so that would work for us. So that might be worth a look for tomorrow. Do we have any questions before we go on here? Is everybody still awake? Okay. Well, if that's the case, I'll go ahead and do one more, just for argument's sake. Let's look at IMAX. I think that was one that we looked at. Yeah, that works. Okay, those are my targets, and we're going to run into the 200 first. So I'll probably move this one down to like that. Go back to a daily. And let's see what we can do with IMAX here. Okay, I guess we've got about a month to work with, a little over a month. 6 bullish, no bearish, plenty of liquidity. Let's plan this out. Let's say that we've got a 250 or 25 53 entry with a stop here about 24.95. And the first target up here at 27.90. And the second target about 29.70. 200 shares, let's see what that does. It's a pretty big position, but it's workable. It's only $116 worth of stop risk there. If we've got 9.25% at that first target, that's 4 to 1. Let's see where the V-stop is saying, 24.50. Way down here. Now it's going to be moved up a little bit because we got to move up above. So let's make it 24.75. We can afford to be a little looser with that. Let's reduce that down, give it 20 more cents to work with there. We still get 3 to 1 at that first target, and at that second target, we're getting 4.19 to 1. So that's a nice trade. That will be one to keep an eye on for tomorrow as well. Okay, guys, since you're still here, does anybody have any other questions? Any particular ticker you'd like me to look at real quick? I'll look at one or two. But other than that, we'll get you off for your afternoon. Sun's still out. Bob S., you want to look at A. Well, it's probably not going to plan out as a stock trade. You know, so you're looking at a pop out of the box after this little bitty run up here. But let's go out to a weekly chart. We can see that we've had 3 weeks that bounced into that there. And someplace in there's pretty close. And then some support down in here. So that looks like the plan there. There's your trend. And now back at the daily, you can see that trend's pretty flat. If I was buying, I would buy on a breakout there. Where's the V-stop? Just 68.23. So it's basically a little bit below this, the low of that wick. And that would probably be my first target up in there. Let's see if it plans out as a stock trade. Well, we got about 2 months to work with. Set it up as one entry, one exit. So let's say that we've got, we're at 69.56. Let's call it 69.75. I'm just picking numbers here. I don't know what the previous highs were, but well, let's call it 70. And the stop down here, what did I say? 68.25. With the first target up here about 74.75. You can play with those numbers a little bit. Let's just do 100 shares. Again, this probably plans out as a stock trade, or I mean as an options trade, but as a stock trade, what this would give you is it's an acceptable amount of stop risk, but it's a large position. It would get you 3.5 to 1. So as a stock trade, you can make it work if you've got the right size account. That's a nice, a nice potential first gain with our stop down in this area, 68.25, I think I said. So right in there. And that's, about where the V-stop is. So that's not too bad. So that would work. Vasily, you want to look at EEP. Well, I'm loath to do anything below the 200 here, so it's so tight. But let's go out to a weekly and look at that. And this will be the last one before we call it a day, guys. You can see that's probably an area there. Let's go to even more. 8 days, see if I can get more candles here. Yeah. going to get rid of that one. Put that there. Okay, that's what the lines look like. I guess I'll just move these levels over. I would be looking for a breakout buy there. I'm going to be loath to hold it if it falls back below the 200. Remember, you're in a setup here for either a doji continuation or for an evening star type. Yeah, that I assume you're holding it, but that's no place. That chop zone is no place to be. It's not for the faint of heart, is it? But you know, it's just been chopping in that patch there for a month. The V stop here says 11 and 28, so basically about the 50. So the V stop saying you should have a stop down here. And if you get your entry up here, let's just say above this doji high. The high was 1175, so let's call it 1170. No, that's pretty close. 1176. Let's close this. Open a new one. EEP. I'm going to do it as one. I don't even think that's even worth much looking at this point. You're already in, so it doesn't matter, but for a new entry, I don't think it works. 1176. What did I say for a stop? It's called 1130. And that first target is up here. Even if we go 1250, the numbers just won't work. Yeah, 1.5 to 1. You either have to choke up on that stop. Yeah, you've been holding through that chop, so I don't know what to tell you. This is not a new position to plan. There's not much you can do at this point. Is just take your medicine and wait it out. You've obviously been in this wedge as the 50 and 200 are coming together here. The good news is it's going to get squeezed in there, and it's got to pop one way or the other. The bad news is that may be against you. But you know, that's what I see as that level right across the tops there, about the 200, is the resistance you've got to get through. Hopefully, you get your doji continuation tomorrow. You could certainly argue and say that was, as of today, it was a morning star. That could certainly be an argument that was made. And then to doji was just it hasn't confirmed that morning star. It's just waiting to confirm. It doesn't have to, candle signals don't have to confirm the next day. So, it could confirm tomorrow. I'll keep my fingers crossed for you. Okay, guys, that will be it. We'll get you out here before 5 o'clock. Give you a chance to enjoy the, if you're out west, the afternoon, or the evening if you're in the east. And we hope to see you here next week. Tomorrow night, again, is the monthly workshop. I'll be doing a similar type of presentation on Thursday night here, 8 p.m. Eastern, same room. And, with that said, that's all I'm going to do. Rick wanted me to share something with you about the real-time scanner, but there's nothing for me to share. I can share a picture of a program that's being developed. I don't even have it on my computer, and that's about all I could do for you tonight. So I'm just going to skip that and just trust me, we are developing a real-time scanner that is it's looking pretty cool, but it's still way early days. So I haven't even thought about starting testing yet. So that's where we're at. Thanks, guys. Everybody have a great night, and we'll talk to you soon.